This is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter, and today's video is going to be about drafting applique blocks using Art and Stitch. Here's a copy of the block that I actually want to draft in Art and Stitch. And the pattern that I got from Pam Buda's Prairie Women's Sewing Circle just had the applique templates in it. So it didn't actually have a full-scale diagram of the finished block. And so I will actually start with the fact that I scanned the pages with the templates in using my scanner. And before I did that, I actually drew an 8-inch square around the shapes on each of the pages. And I did that just so when I brought things in, I knew that I had the correct sizing. This isn't so important in Art and Stitch, but it will be important when I move everything over to the Silhouette Cameo. Okay, now let's go ahead and create our Contrary Wife block. So I'm going to open a new page, and I'm going to click on the backdrop tool, and from that I'm going to find my scanned document and open it. And I'm going to zoom in, and to zoom in I like to use the Z key on my keyboard, and the magnifying glass appears, and then I can enlarge that, and you can see the block that I drew around my shape is 8 by 8, so I now know I don't have to resize the backdrop at all. So I'm going to now go and select the curve tool. And two things: when I click on the curve tool, I can get a smooth, or I can get a sharp point, and I can get the sharp point by clicking on the control key with the mouse click. So I'm going to start with a sharp click here, so that would be control click, and then I'm going to release the control, and I'm going to do a smooth, and here I'm going to do another sharp, so that would be control click, smooth, control click, smooth, control click, smooth, control click, and then I'm going to close the shape. Okay, from here now I can go, and I'm going to zoom in again and actually get all of these shapes to basically cover the piece that I'm tracing here. And you can see this is very easy to do. So I think I came from an EQ world where I learned how to do applique, and it actually took me a little while to adjust to Art and Stitch, but I am just loving it for doing applique shapes. I think the nodes are very easy to maneuver, and to zoom in again there, and to just move a node, you just select it and move it, and then the handles can be just moved to fill the shapes. So I like that. I think that looks pretty good. I can hide the backdrop now and take a look, zoom back out. So I'm going to now do another file, and for this one I'm going to select the black backdrop tool and select my other scanned documents, and I'm going to zoom in on the drawn square, and again that is basically from the -4 to the +4, so that would be 8 by 8. And now for the curve tool, I'm not going to use the control key at all. I'm just going to use the mouse and click on some various points, because if you'll notice on this shape, everything on here is basically a smooth or a smooth shape. And then I'm going to close that shape. Okay, and now when I do my editing, I'm going to zoom in on those start and stop points because I want to make sure if I can change that one to a smooth and that one to a smooth, because it likes to start and stop with a line point, but I really would like to keep the whole thing smooth, so a little bit easier to do if I just change those. And there's a couple of ways to maneuver. As you can see, I've sort of zoomed in. I can either use the arrow keys down here, or I can actually use the arrow keys on my computer to go up and down. Turn my backdrop off. Clean that one up just a bit. Turn that back on. Okay, to do the center circle, what I want to do is actually select a circle here. And for this one, I'm going to have the control on as I draw the circle. And then I am going to move that over here, and it's a little bit small, so I can just drag the corner to fill in, and then again my goal is to basically trace over the other circle that's there. So that looks really good, and because I used the circle and the control key, it is a perfectly sized circle. Now for the leaves, I'm going to actually use the three-pointed arc tool, and I'm going to start at one of the points, and I always just like to count 1, 2, 3, and then 2, 3. And what's nice with that, then I'm going to close the shape. What's nice with this is that it makes every other point basically a sharp point and every other point a smooth point. Turn off my background, and now what I can do is use the select tool, and I'm going to select all the blocks, and I'm going to copy those and move them over to my other design and do a Control V. Actually, I'll do the select tool, Control V, paste. Now everything, all my shapes are in the same document. So let's start by just centering some things. So the first one here, I'm going to use the center tool and get that centered. I'm going to do the same thing with the circle. I'm going to center that, and I might have moved that, so I'm just going to try that again. Yep. And then for this first shape, I will center that as well. And then for the leaf, actually for that shape, the next thing I need to do is rotate it 45 degrees. And then for the leaf, I can move that in shape, in place. And I can do Control C, Control V, and I've got a duplicate, and do that again, except now I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and move it in place. And rotate that and move it in shape, in place. I'm going to select the rectangle here and draw that, and I'm going to change, so I have the shape of my block. I'm going to transform that. I don't want to maintain the aspect ratio, so I'm going to select 8 by 8, apply that, and I am going to center that as well. So now I have my whole block drawn. So I do need to apply the stitches before I bring it over into Silhouette Cameo, but what I have found is that if I apply them right now, and I'm just going to show you what happens. Sometimes you can see there's a little bit, the stitches are causing a little bit of distortion. And so one of the ways I try to resolve that is actually to change the size of everything. So I'm going to bring this back to artwork. I've got everything selected, and I'm going to transform it. I want to maintain the aspect ratio, and I'm just going to bring it up to 300%, and I'm going to apply that. Now, you're not going to notice a lot of difference other than it's just larger, but now when I take the document or all of the shapes and apply stitches, you've got a little bit more, you don't lose any of the curve in the shape. So what I want to do now, I'm first going to save it as an art and stitch file. So I will call this Contrary Wife. Since I've already got one document, I'll call it Contrary Wife 2. And then I want to save it in the file that I can import into Silhouette. So, and that would be a DXF file. So I'm going to save that as DXF, and I'm going to call that Contrary Wife 2 DXF. And I'm going to save that. And I'm now done in Art and Stitch. Okay, I've now opened Silhouette Studio, and I'm going to actually go and find my DXF file. So I'm going to open, and I need to change the type of file from Silhouette Studio version 3 to a DXF. And I will find my Contrary Wife 2 file and click on OK. And it brings in the entire document. Now, it even brought in my copyright information. I think I'll delete that. And now I'm going to select all of these, all of the items brought in. And I want to resize everything to 8 by 8. So to do that, I'm going to select Object. I'm going to select Scale, and I'm going to change the width to 8 and the height to 8 and apply that, and it's now resized everything. And now I can get rid of that outside dimension of the block. I'm also going to select all of the other shapes, right click, and I want to release the compound path, and so then I can move these pieces independently. So I'm just going to move a few of these out of the way, and I want to try to get everything fit onto one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, as I have freezer paper that size, and that would work really well. So I'm going to take both of these, and I'm actually going to move them, and actually I'm going to, I think this might be easier to rotate, so I'm going to actually rotate that 45 degrees. It doesn't matter with the circle, but with the other one, and I'm going to move that as far to the upper right corner as I can. And then I can take in this other piece, and I think I can fit it in the lower, or that's the upper left, and this one being the lower right, and then I can just fit in the leaves wherever I have room. And great, so if I was going to do 3 blocks, I would just print out 3 pages of these on Silhouette. And then I'm going to actually select everything to cut. I will select my cut settings, and freezer paper, I found that just actually using the copy paper works really well. everything is highlighted, and now all I have to do is send it to the silhouette. Here's my final block after completing the applique. As you can see, this is really a nice technique for creating applique blocks, and I have an added advantage in that the block is already now in Art and Stitch, and I can draft the quilting designs around that. If you are interested in any additional tutorials, please subscribe to my newsletter at www.onpointquilter.com. This is Carrie Schell, and thank you so much for watching.